You're listening to the Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
"24 hours ago, at this time yesterday, your man Angry Tensai was laying on his back in La La Land. Welcome to the belated episode of Raw Reaction, Tuesday night version. This is Angry Tensai with my brother and confidant, the legendary Big Dick. Big Dick, how are you doing on this Tuesday night?
Brother. I am doing well. It was disappointing not be able to do the live show, but I'm actually more excited to do the reaction to Raw Reaction, so we could do a fully vested, fully improved program. Killer Kev wanted to bring in a replacement. I said there's no replacement for Angry Tensai. And with that, we are live right now.
I would agree with that, and honestly, I like what you just said about the vested interest and all that good stuff, because you know what? We're here because we want to be here tonight, and we want to be the most downloaded show on the Angry Parks Network as well as the VOC Nation. So it's good to be here tonight. And I got to tell you, and I do want all the listeners to understand this, I thought Raw was very, very good, and I only missed probably the last 10 minutes. And it was nothing to do with the quality of the main event. Not that I feel like after I watching it tonight that it was that great. It didn't put me to sleep. I just was very, very tired. So, I thought overall Raw was very, very good, and it had one of the most, for me at least, one of the most memorable segments I've seen in a very, very long time, which I know we're going to talk about in a minute. But, overall, how did you feel about Raw?
I really liked it. I think not last week's show 2 weeks ago. I thought that was one of the better Raws of the year. Certainly unexpected based on prior booking and pay-per-view results and things of that nature. So it was not expected. Big title change by Roman Reigns, and just all around a great show. I liked this. They played off some parts of that were the same. However, they also did have a lot of filler and fluff there, especially at the beginning of the show, which I know we will discuss.
I don't think that was filler and fluff at the beginning of the show. I thought first off, let's talk about the main segment. Let's go right to it. Are you telling me you didn't think the main segment was one of the greatest things you've ever seen? With
McMahon getting arrested?
Yes.
I mean, I think it was good for the show, but unfortunately, we know how that ends. I was sort of surprised that Roman didn't get arrested because he did assault McMahon first.
Me as well.
I mean, you can't just push somebody down, especially an old feeble man like McMahon. So that having McMahon being the one that was arrested and then get out of jail 2 weeks or 2 hours later. I mean, it's a nice touch. It's believable. I just don't. I don't know what it really added. I mean, I don't think they needed to take him off to jail and have him show up at the end of the show again to provide his edict. I think he could have just gone backstage and stewed a little bit without having a half dozen segments outside of the Brooklyn PD.
You mean a half dozen eggs, one the other? I heard you say something like that once on the air.
No, I said a half dozen segments waiting outside the Brooklyn PD department, police department.
I don't. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, do yourself a favor, get a hold of Raw and watch the first segment. Vince McMahon goading Roman Reigns into a fight, into giving Sheamus a rematch, pretty much anything you could imagine, Vince McMahon tries to goat Roman Reigns. And then where it really got good to me, and I was explaining this to Kevin before we got on the air, was when he started talking about Alpha and Sika. And I was like, oh, well, this is interesting. They're going to go here. And I like where Vince went, because it kind of reminds me of the Mighty Nation of IPW, when the Doctor that was feuding with the Mighty Nation talked about how Standing Bear was the brains of the operation, and that's not saying much. And there was a little ode to that, as Alpha, who is the uncle of one Roman Reigns, was called the brains of the operation, which wasn't saying much. And of the Samoans, the Wild Samoans, and then Sika, he said what was just a tool in his game, and he talked about both Samoans, and he said that Alpha and Sika drew very, very well for the WWE, but they never really got the notoriety. They were just people that he worked into the ground, and he used them up and took their money and never really gave them their fair share, and that's how he feels about them. And Roman is one and the same as them. Roman Reigns proceeds to push Vince McMahon down to the ground. This leads to Vince being on the ground saying, my neck, my neck. And then Stephanie McMahon comes running out as Roman Reigns is laughing and waves out a group of people. Now, I initially thought it might be the League of Nations. No, it was the New York Police Department. And there was 3 police officers and 2 detective-looking guys that were complete hard asses who abused power. So initially I thought, oh, well, they're going to arrest Roman Reigns. He pushed down Roman Reigns, or pushed down Vince McMahon. And Stephanie said, officer, please arrest this man. My feeble, old dad got pushed down and assaulted. And they said, well, we need to ask a couple questions first. We're not arresting anybody. And Roman just kind of talks to them. And as they're talking to Roman, Stephanie McMahon goes, I told you to arrest him. Do you know who I am? And then they said, well, we'll arrest you. That leads into Vince McMahon getting into a tirade and getting right up into the hard-ass detective's face. And as he gets up into his face, Vince McMahon is literally like head-to-head with him. And Stephanie goes, Dad, your neck. And he's like, my neck? Whatever, my neck, like not realizing he's supposed to sell his injury because he's so pissed off. And Vince proceeds to grab the police officer's jacket and they arrest him. Do you feel that was an abuse of power, Beck?
I do. First of all, I love this. I love the portion of this segment with McMahon goading Roman into pushing him. That was sort of the old time. That's old time wrestling right there.
Yeah.
That they're referring to. And I mean, he basically said, "Look, that's like urinating on Alpha, and it'd be like disrespecting Cowboy Bob Orton or Cena's father on the sideline." I mean, that was really perfect. That was good. However, I don't really understand how Vince McMahon could get pushed down and then end up getting arrested.
Well, that's what I didn't need. I mean, honestly, it was clear. It was cut and dry assault, right? I mean, why weren't they arrested? Like, why wasn't Roman arrested? I don't understand. I mean, was he going to be? They just needed to ask him questions first? I mean, I don't know. Like, where do you think that was going?
I don't know. That was one thing that sort of confused me. I thought that in this situation, if he was going to go in jail, McMahon would just go out and be a complete badass and smack him, and not freak out on the cops. However, it did make him look like more of a prick to actually assault the cop and demoralize him a bit.
There was a New York Times article this morning. Well, it wasn't like in real New York Times, but it was in like the e-version. The police complained. The New York police department complained to the WWA. There was an explosion of calls last night that shut down their lines I'm not making a joke. Did you hear about this?
No, what happened?
So people were calling in for two reasons. One, I guess Stephanie might have pushed one of the police officers on the way out, and I didn't see that, but I guess she did, and like just kind of like put her hands on one of the officers and pushed him aside, and the people were calling up and reported that Stephanie McMahon arrested or assaulted a police officer and wasn't arrested. People are so stupid. Then people were calling and said the WWE was impersonating police officers without a permit or acknowledgement to do so.
That's
Does that
sort
not
of
blow your mind?
That's sort of amazing. You know what? People have way too much free time in their hands. I'm starting to realize that now.
Really, what do you make of all that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's just sad.
So here's what I asked Kevin. So the police obviously were in the wrong, right? Vince is obviously getting arrested. Would it have been a cooler segment if Vince is already in cuffs, League of Nation comes out, because they're the authorities, like, henchmen. League of Nation comes out and literally beats down all the police on hand. How do you feel about that?
I'm sorry, say that again?
League of Nations comes out to save Vince and beats up all the police officers.
That would be that would have been a cool segment.
That'd be an awesome segment, because eventually they would get arrested later that night, because they'd bring in like a SWAT team or something.
Yeah.
But like, what's stopping the League of Nations from coming down and beating up police? Like, why does WWE like respect that line, but not anything else? Right?
Exactly.
Like,
I mean, they push the officers around, but they don't have them beat up.
Right.
Yeah, however, if it was Roman Reigns getting arrested, like at the end of the show or something like that, I could see him going ballistic and assaulting the police.
I would love to have seen Ruru come out and like do that big Russian sidekick to one of the police officers, and then you have the bro kick and a bull hammer to one of the officers. I mean, the officers were clearly abusing power. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, they were given their role. These weren't decisions they were making. They were given, okay, this is what you do, this is how you do it. And I mean, these guys aren't professional wrestlers. They're probably washed up guys who work out at the little DFW gym.
You don't think they were mall cops, do you?
No, I think they were just like some wannabe NXT guys.
Dude, NXT's awesome, man.
I'm talking about like they were probably working at the American Legion of the VFD in Red Hook, Brooklyn.
The Red Hook, the Hook. Well, I don't know. I thought it was a good way to start the show. I don't know about you. Let me ask you this: what else did you like during the night? What other segments did you like?
I like Kevin Owens during his couple of segments, and I loved the Cena and what's his name, Alberto Del Rio matchup at the end of the show. I thought that was good. Did they have a fan rush to ring during the Alberto Del Rio match?
Possibly. I didn't see it.
Okay. He made a comment standing outside the ring, something about, and he was facing Del Rio, and they were having to stare down, and he was still trying to goad him into a title match, and he said something like, "See, even these fans here have more balls than you."
Yeah, I did hear that. But I don't know. I didn't read anything about that though. But you talked about you liked the Kevin Owens segment. Were you surprised that Neville beat him so abruptly with that sunset flip?
I don't know.
Well, Neville beat Owens in literally like 20 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I mean, I get that, you know what, you're trying to goad him into doing something, but 20 seconds, that's just not realistic. I mean, I could see if Dean Ambrose came out and distracted him to build up their match, but I mean, it was more like just a one-on-one match, trading wins, trading losses.
Well, you know, I know that they had the little mini feud over the breakout superstar of the year last week, but I was really surprised that that Neville won that match number one and then won it so quickly. But it looked like he kind of botched that flip because he was supposed to like kind of roll him up real quick and then he didn't hook his leg, so it looked kind of poor on TV. But I did think, there's your 50-50, let's get everything back, because Owens then literally from pillar to post and backstage beat down Neville for like minutes. So it's kind of like, why even bother, you know?
I hear what you're saying.
You can't?
I can hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So
I mean, it was sort of a. I mean, I get you trade your wins and losses, but I don't think it did much to advance Neville. It did more to advance Owens as a asshole.
yeah, I mean, you might as well have had him just win then. You know, I mean, I guess the feud with Ambrose clearly isn't ending because Ambrose came out and saved him. But
well, was there no distraction leading up to the pin outside of just?
No, it just came out like literally. It was like Ambrose, or it was literally like Neville and Owens like locked up. Owens, I think he like kicked him or something, and Owens got really pissed off, and then like kneed him, and then threw him into the ropes to do the pop-up power bomb like real early, like 15 seconds in, and as he went to do it, he got caught in that flip, like that sunset flip, and it ended right there. It was like crazy.
Yeah, that was a good segment there. What did you think about Sasha Banks had a match?
Well, I saw there was the Becky Lynch Sasha Banks match. This actually, like, first off, they've had much better at matches, like on NXT, obviously. I mean, you've probably heard that. But this was a good one. This was not a bad one. It wasn't great, but it was very good, especially by Diva standards. It was probably one of the best, like, and I mean Diva, like, as in on WWE TV. It was probably the best WWE Divas match they've had in some time, I think. Before the match, Becky addressed the WWE universe as like she doesn't want to be a jobber, like, she wants to. She came here to stand out, not to just be in the background or be a good athlete. And she's no stranger to overcoming odds. She was a bartender on the east side of Greenwich Village, and got the cheap pop for that. And she lived her dream living in New York, got the pop for that, and I get it. So I kind of thought she was going to win the match because they gave her that nice little interview, and I kind of like Becky Lynch on the mic because it reminds me of Paige in the sense that I can't understand anything either of them are saying. But anyway, I digress. So Team Bad comes out because Sasha is going to wrestle. Becky. Sasha totally puts over Becky in a big way to stop the fans. She comes out and talks about how, Becky Lynch says New York's such a great city. Well, I guess Becky's never been to the greatest city in the world, Boston, and her and Tamina put on New England Patriot hats, which I thought was kind of funny. And it totally got the crowd to turn against her. So that worked, and, she put her over. But when the match itself happened, it was typical back and forth. I thought it was really entertaining. In fact, Becky Lynch looked like she was going to get the win with her submission move, but there was some interference between Tamina and Naomi. When Tamina kind of interfered, the referee stopped that, but it left a moment where Becky Lynch was exposed, and I thought it was cool because Naomi got a really, really high kick over the rope and completely took out Becky, and then Becky was rolled up by Sasha for a win, and there was a pull of the tights, no less, on top of it. So very good match. I was entertained.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be. I agree with you. Was there any hype for this match beforehand, or anything? What it's going to lead to eventually?
No, because it looks like Becky. Well, what's bizarre is they're angling Becky to be the number one contender, and then she lost this match. So I'm not sure. I don't understand that. But
maybe they do a three-way. I was going to say maybe they do like a three-way dance leading up to Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's a possibility. I could see Vic, the first female. Oh well, they're not doing Elimination Chamber anymore. It's Fastlane. That's right. Um, which sucks because that was always my favorite, one of my favorite pay-per-views. Um, I don't know. I thought it was the match of the night, or do you think I'm getting carried away?
You know what? You're probably about right. I mean, it was probably about a 15-minute match. I think the ultimate match tonight was Cena Del Rio. Unfortunately, as we'll discuss in a little while, that didn't come to an end.
Yeah. Well, I think if that had an outcome, that would have been the best match of the night. But I don't know. I'm just into the diva stuff, man. I don't know why. I just like I'm really getting into it, man. I'm really digging the division. I'm really digging where they're going with it, and it's been cool, man. I know a lot of people are complaining about it, but I just don't have that. I'm not of that mindset. I think it's working. So good for the divas, man. I was thoroughly entertained. But I was thinking about Team Bad and like why it's stupid to have like a team or a stable like without a leader. Like, isn't the Team Bad members getting tired of like, you know, hanging out with Sasha Banks and she's like always getting the notoriety and the recognition, right? Like, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. That's the thing. I don't really know. I mean, is that going to be something that causes resentment on the team, or how's that going to work out, like
Yeah,
down the road?
like there's no tag titles or anything in women's wrestling, so it's like I'm not really sure like why they would stay with her, but neither here nor there. Speaking of the tag team champions, I really enjoyed the series of matches between the New Day and the Lucha Dragons. I normally don't like when WWE lazy books like this, but I thought the matches came out really good. The first match was Kofi Kingston versus Kalisto. I enjoyed the match. I did not like the ending. I really would have liked to see Kofi Kingston win this match, but instead Kalisto wins with a roll up, which this is starting to emulate IPW. Every match is ending with a small package. What did you think of the Kalisto Kofi match? Victor? Big Dick?
Yep.
Actually, it was a Hearn Karana, but what did you think of that match, the Kofi Kalisto match?
You know what? I mean, I thought it was a decent match, but again, I mean, I think it's sort of a lead into down the road having the tag titles on the line again. I think it was just sort of okay. Well, but
Sin Cara got hurt, dude.
how bad was it though? I haven't read anything on the dirt sheets.
I don't know yet, but I was reading tonight that he's going to be out of the action for a while. And on SmackDown, the Dudley Boys and Kalisto took on the New Day. I actually thought Big E and Sin Cara had a fantastic match, and it was funny because Xavier Woods stopped the celebration for Kalisto's match, and very funny. Xavier Woods called Sin Cara simply just Sin. He goes, Sin, you're supposed to be a righteous man. You're supposed to be a great man. You know what, man? That's crap. You need to get in here right now, and I'm gonna give you payback, or we're gonna give you payback, and this payback is gonna be right now, and the payback's gonna be from Big E Langston, and Big E fights the match instead of Xavier. But I don't know. I thought these two tore down the house, and I actually thought Sin Cara was going to win with the way it was going, but Big E did win this one with his finisher, and it was a clean match. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. But again, the ultimate in trading wins. One win for Kalisto, one win for New Day. I don't know, brother.
Yeah. And you know what? It didn't really, like you said, with the injury. Even without the injury, it didn't seem like it was going anywhere to set anything up.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting, for sure. But that was, so that's part of where they're going. I'm trying to think of what else happened. Oh, what did you think of that schmoz of a Miz TV segment where every jobber came out and talked about why it was going to be their year? Zack Ryder, R-Truth, Goldust, Ryback, Big Show. I can't even explain the segment. Pretty much everybody started fighting everybody, and Big Show killed everyone, and then finally Ryback knocked him out of the ring. What a mess. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I hear it. Producer extraordinaire, Killer Kev. Do you hear the beautiful sounds in the background? You know what's awesome? There's like a TV show website. It's called like Death Watch or like it's like when a show's about to be canceled. I don't know. There's a big website dedicated to shows that are like about to get canceled or shot, and they give predictions on why and what their ratings are. I really feel like the Big Dick Angry Tensai version is getting very close to being put on death row at Angry Marks as a result of the narcolepsy bout that has stricken the hosts of Raw Reaction. I don't even know what to say.
Are you fucked out of your mind?
What?
Hey Vic, how you doing?
Yo.
Were you sawing a piece of wood for the last 5 minutes in the background?
I may have been. I just finished. I was molding pottery as we came on the air, and I decided to do some yard molding work or some yard work. Cut up some firework or some firewood.
Oh my
Atlanta, as you may or may not have heard, we've been suffering with 70 to 75 degree weather for the last couple of weeks. So I figure at some point I'm going to need mass quantities of firewood.
Well, I mean, Vic, what interests you these days? Politically, athletically?
Sure. I like American Pharaoh still. Best athlete, AP Athlete of the Year or Event of the Year. I like the fact that they didn't build it up as much as Sports Illustrated, where Sports Illustrated tried to basically build it up like it was going to be, like he was going to dominate, and then just completely disregard the fan vote.
Well,
so big fan of that. Big fan of everything Donald Trump. We're starting to become a big fan of him. I'm warming up.
really?
I sort of like him. Yeah, you know what? I feel like he's going to shake things up. And even if he doesn't shake things up as much as he talks about shaking things up, things need to be shaken up a little bit, and things can be changed. I feel like in the U.S. over the last 8 years or so, we have a lot of government agencies or government help or whatever. That, I mean, it's good to have these programs, but I feel like they've sort of become, instead of being a hammock, instead of being a safety net for people, they become a hammock for people, where they get into some sort of program and then take advantage of it. I mean, by all means, I do not mean all people. I think that the majority of people are not, but I think that it's viewed as many as almost like winning the lottery.
You know what I think?
What's that?
I think I'm shocked that you like Donald Trump.
Really?
I'm
I don't know.
surprised you would get political, no less.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that I like him. He's bold. He's an asshole, and he's not afraid to be an asshole, which I find a huge draw for me.
Well, I'm glad things are going well for you. What else did you see on Raw that you would you thought was of value? We were just talking about the Miz segment. Any thoughts there?
Really, I felt like that was just like, okay, let's get ready a paycheck before Christmas. Let's bring out Heath Slater and people that nobody wants to see.
Yeah, I thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
And it was a really good show up until that point. Like, it kind of really slowed down the show. And then the Big Show Ryback match was a dud, and the fact that it ended in a count out was even worse.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that we're on our way. The one thing I did like is that, okay, we have the next, when is the Royal Rumble? Like maybe like the 20th, 23rd or something.
Yeah.
Of next, I think that we've done, even on this show, I think we've done a good job of starting to put matches together that are going to take place on the show without announcing them immediately.
Right.
I like a little bit of a build up. Like, okay, are they going to have? Is it going to be Dean Ambrose versus what's his name, Kevin Owens for the IC strap, or is it going to be Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens, and Neville for it, which could really potentially be interesting.
He's in that mix too.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I like not knowing exactly what the match is. I think that Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose, I think they wrestled last week. They had a good match. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. They had a really good match there. But it was sort of a throwaway. It wasn't super hyped. It wasn't super long, but I mean, it definitely showed the potential that they could have an absolutely spectacular match.
Is it time for the Wyatt family to feud with the Authority?
Not yet. I could see him feuding with the League of Nations at some point, just because they are the two main strong factions at the moment.
I would love that.
I think that I think you need to build the League of Nations a little bit more, because if you run a feud against the Wyatt and they lose, that pretty much destroys their credibility.
I think the Wyatts should be cool heels and literally go after like the New Day and take tag titles, or try to, and then they should go after the Authority, because that's their end game, is to ruin the WWA, right? Although they probably shouldn't go after the New Day because they don't care about titles. So
I don't. Yeah, and that's the thing, though. I mean, New Day has almost become the cool heels. So
sure,
I think bringing the Wyatts after them, that makes it questionable. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be an unexpected feud, I think, which is something that I'd love to have a match like that. But at the same time, I don't think that that's necessarily going to turn them into cool heels. That would be more of a one-time pop on Raw. Oh my gosh, we didn't expect this. This is going to be great. And assuming it goes to a finish, it can lead to another match.
Where was Tyler Breeze, man? Tyler Breeze, man, he wasn't on Raw like the Wyatts. Where were all these guys?
I don't know. I think they probably mailed in with a lot of guys, let them have off with their nagging injuries and stuff. That's why I was surprised to see Cena back, except he took the last 2 weeks off himself.
Yeah,
last 2 months. Sorry about that.
Well, Cena came out to the main event, and he was fired up, ready to go, and Del Rio then returned the favor and shit on him and disparaged him. The WWE really built up this match, this Del Rio Cena U.S. title match, and Del Rio has not done much with the belt since he's gotten it. But
that's the thing. I just think I didn't get is because I was reading or Cena was saying that they were like leading up to the match. Seems like, oh, you never defend this or anything, and you hear in the background, and I hadn't seen it, but you hear in the background, you hear JBL like, oh, he goes out and defends his belt every week. I'm like, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't defend it at all.
Well, that's why I was confused, because JBL was saying like Del Rio was going out and defending it on a weekly basis. Well, and I was a little confused if maybe he was referring to Cena or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, what they should do with it is what the TV title was. I mean, defend it every week. You don't have to do an open challenge, but it should be defended weekly, because otherwise it's the same belt as the Intercontinental title, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly. It's going to get defended every pay-per-view.
I don't think the way Cena did it is like realistic booking long term, because you're basically never prepared and you're always at risk. Every time you take the belt out there.
Yeah.
The idea of it just being defended weekly against different people, and they'll have a week to prepare. Like, you name your opponent, and this is who you're going to be fighting. So it makes sense that the champion would keep winning, because they know who they're going to face. They're prepared for it, so that's cool. But it's not what they're doing with it. And I mean, really, John Cena basically won that match, but the League of Nations broke up the pin. So I don't really, you know what I mean? Like, you might as well have given the title to Cena then. Otherwise, like, what's the point? Like, what are you doing with it? You don't have any plan for it. Is Jack Swagger the master plan? I don't think so.
I hope not.
No, it's just, that was his first feud, but I don't get it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I think that I think they made some improvements with booking. However, over the last couple weeks, but I don't think by any means, I don't think they're there. I like I like the fact that they really, really, really hyped the Cena Del Rio match because number one, I don't feel they do that enough. Like even like pre-show or leading through the first segment of the show to build a big match later, whether it be a show in 30 minutes or a show at the end of the match. They did a really good job building it up. Obviously hoping to get the whole Cena fan base to tune in, spend their hard-earned money on Raw Reaction instead of going to watch Star Wars.
Yes, I think that's where you should spend your money with us.
Exactly. Just feel free to just mail us bags of cash.
So the new year's coming up, so a lot of opportunity to do different things. And the one thing I was talking to Kev about was bringing up people from NXT, and I wonder why they don't bring up Finn Balor and Bayley. I mean, obviously Finn Balor is world renowned, so he's obviously ready if they wanted to. I wonder why they keep him down there. Same thing with Bayley. I think she's like going to sell so much merchandise for WWE, yet they don't bring her up. So I mean, I don't know. I think you think we'll see a lot of call ups in the new year.
I don't know. I don't think a lot. I mean, I think we'll have a couple coming up leading up to what is it? Leading up to Royal Rumble. But I think that's going to be more of guys on the scrub list currently, not necessarily call ups.
Right. Because
you're not going to have Finn Balor. I mean, as cool as his entrance is, as great a wrestler is, he's not going to put away the county inspections of emissions on an overnight basis.
I don't know. I think he's top guy immediately coming in. I don't know. I like him.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, my biggest fear is that he turns into the next Adam Rose, whereas a really badass.
No way. He is so much better than any of those guys. There's no way. I mean, they can't hold him down. There's no way. Kev, you're on the air. Is there any way creative ruins Finn Balor? No way, right? He can't miss. Finn Balor can't miss. Can the writers screw up Finn Balor? No way, right? There's no way when he gets called up.
Of course they can miss.
How would you screw him up? I mean, his talent is immense. Like, what could they do to mess him up?
They could make him a rosebud.
No, but Adam Rose has no talent, and he's all right. I mean, honestly, Finn Balor is literally one of the best wrestlers in the world. Literally. Adam Rose is not.
He could become the Miz's next big protege.
Yeah, that worked, though. Daniel Bryan was the man. A protege of the Miz. But that was all a rib, though. Like, even in NXT, it was a rib, because in NXT, that was the comment, like, Miz was, like, calling him kid and saying, you could learn from me. And for Daniel Bryan on the show would be like, dude, I've been doing this for, like, 15 years, man. I've been doing it a lot longer than you have. So that was kind of like a rib, I think.
Yeah. And look where that got Daniel Bryan today. How's he doing?
Well, injury aside, he's like a top 2 or 3 guy in the Federation. Why is Finn Balor not up yet?
I don't think Finn Balor has been called up yet because he's doing really well for NXT right now, and he was injured for a little bit, but NXT really needs him right where he is right now because they've really called up too many guys from NXT, and it's not kind of really worked out for a lot of them.
But of the singles wrestlers, who do you think it hasn't worked out well for? You too, Vic. I think singles wrestlers, Neville, Owens, it's worked out outstanding. Both of them.
Yeah, Owens for sure. Neville, not quite as much. I mean, he's up there, but he hasn't really shown as much. I mean, you look at some of the others, even
I feel that way with Kevin Owens for sure. I mean, he's obviously like one of the best guys, and I guess Vic says the same thing too. Sasha Banks, though, for instance, I think to myself, like, all right, well, they're not featuring her enough. And I start to think to myself, like, how could they mess this up? I mean, she's the best woman wrestler in the world. But then I've noticed, like, she's never been pinned. She's won every single singles match she's in. So, I mean, what more could they do there? They're trying to slow build her. I like that. So they've actually, in the process, Charlotte and Sasha Banks have been unbeatable. They've won every match they're in, right? I mean, think about it. And they've kept Charlotte away from Sasha Banks. What more could the WWE have done there? You know what I mean? And the WWE also is trying to play politically to not offend Cena and Bryan. So they did this whole team thing so they could slowly phase out the Bellas. So I think that was more to appease the talent on the male side than it was for their ultimate plan. Because I think when all this team shit's over, the four women, and I'm not using Bayley, I'm talking about Paige. Paige, Sasha, and Becky and Charlotte, they're going to be the division when this is all said and done. By the time WrestleMania is over, the team stuff's going to be over, and the Bellas will be an afterthought. Period. And you'll be at your Real Divas Revolution. Anyway, good stuff tonight, Gilgav. Thanks for joining me. We lost Vic 45 minutes in. He fell victim to the thing that keeps getting us, the sleep bug. Unbelievable.
And the thing is, tonight's late night re-recording of this podcast was all Vic's idea. He's the one who said, well, can we do this tomorrow night? And then he shoots us both a message, hey, can we do this at like 10 or 11 o'clock tonight? And we're like, okay, fine, let's do it. And in the end, he taps out first.
Well, I was well rested tonight. It was great being on here, man.
Well, I'm glad you were well rested. We should have had Vic from last night because he was well rested too. But hey, we made it through.
That's true. Well, good stuff tonight, Kev. Thank you. You're the man. And we'll talk to you soon. Happy New Year, everyone.